Hey y'all, it's Jen, and I hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to come on and give you a flip through of this traveler's journal notebook that I made, and I'm just so excited about it because I spent about maybe 5 hours drawing and painting this cover. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to put it in front of a journal and make it practical and useful to somebody. So this is a traveler's notebook size, and it's so overstuffed. I'm not even sure if it is in fact functional at this point, but there's lots of nooks and crannies where you can write things. And so I have lots of vintage. That's a vintage photograph there with a boy, and there's like palm trees in the background. So that kind of, this whole journal has sort of a tropical vibe to it. And the cover, the orange plant in a pot, and the curved arc leading out to the ocean kind of reminded me of Florida, where I'm from. So I just went with that theme. And I had just showed you an envelope, a vintage first day cover envelope with a Florida theme. And the inside pocket has a tag that I made myself with collage and hand-painted papers. There's a journaling card for you from crepe paper, and then a scrap of painted paper with a flower cutout. And that is a piece of vintage wallpaper that it's attached to. It was attached with a belly band, and that belly band was a recycled scrap that I think I received from Russie Jane. This is a vintage children's flashcard, and of course it fits the theme, so I included it, and you can easily write on the back of it or attach a picture. So it's got vintage fabric trim, and that's a picture out of the children's garden verses, I believe. It's a vintage book with adorable illustrations, and throughout it has some pictures from a sailboat instructional book, and that's vintage as well, and I found that at a local thrift store. That spotted paper that I just showed you, my son actually made that. And got some pom-pom trim I received from Allie Hager. There's vintage maps that a lot of friends donated to me. It's a vintage flower page from a book, and that's a napkin that Allie also gifted me. And that on the right is some vintage wallpaper, and I believe it's hand-painted. The texture is so nice. And so that's kind of like a belly band on a piece of scrap paper that has kind of like a bohemian Mediterranean vibe. And so I thought it looks really great against the lemons there. That's more of the vintage sailing instructional book that I got. I'm really, really excited about this book. I just stuffed it with so much collage and visual assemblage. Those are vintage stamps that I ordered quite a long time ago, and I love the color, that color green. It's like a pea green. Or a chartreuse, I think. I don't know what it's called. Those are clipped onto some of my handmade paper I made a while back. Yeah, and those paper clips, Allie Hager recently gifted those to me, and a lot of stuff I used that friends gifted to me because they wanted to get rid of it. That's some wallpaper, and I made it into a journaling card, and it's backed with some ledger paper. I definitely, before you go shopping to a thrift store, even ask your friends if they have anything that they are trying to get rid of so they can organize and clear out their craft space. And you'll be surprised what you find. That piece on the left with the elephants, that was a piece of just scrap of like a pamphlet. I think it was like a wallpaper sample pamphlet, and it was on cardstock, and I just made it into a pocket. It's not real wallpaper, and that's a vintage greeting card, and on the back I kind of made my collagey notepads that I like to make. It has a variety of papers. And that white paper there is my 28-pound 100% recycled paper. It's very soft and matte. I love it. And there's a homemade journaling tag with some vintage trim. And I thought that looked cute with that fabric on the left, and the G on the back of that greeting card was a greeting card for a grandma. That's a vintage Barbie toy catalog. I sold a lot of those last summer, and I still had some left over. So it became kind of like a beachy ocean theme. And there's the orange theme repeating again, and it's backed on like a Mediterranean tile type pattern paper, which is beautiful. And here's another one of my stacked collage little notebooks. You can write little quotes on them, or notes, or memories, or dates. Even glue some pictures on those. Again, it's really stuffed. I imagine it would kind of be hard to add a lot more to it, but that's just my style, and I keep doing it, and it's just like a maximalist style to it. If you're a visual person and you like looking at a lot of different colors and textures and patterns and illustrations, my journals are definitely for you. If you like a lot of blank space, I don't know if I can do that, guys. Very sorry. So that's another handmade tag from some vintage animal book. And again, that's that paper that my son made one day out on our back porch. He called it Jackson Splat because his name's Jackson. And so he did like some drips and drops kind of painting, and I saved it. And I'm so happy I can use it and integrate my history in with your future. It's a handmade tag out of some scrapbook paper with some vintage trim. And that aqua and green trim at the top is just my absolute favorite. And I'm almost out of it, but it actually came from a sleeveless blouse, like a chiffon-y type blouse I found at the thrift store. And I just love the pattern and the colors in it, and I'm so happy I've been able to use it a lot. That's some vintage wallpaper as well. I think Russie Jane gifted that to me. And here's just another little a clustered journal card with a vintage ticket that says Island on it. If you're dreaming of a vacation, this book might be for you. There's like some onion skin, I think, type paper, and right there, that packing list envelope, that's an envelope. I think that like shippers will attach to like a shipment, a freight shipment. So I glued that on the back of the cover, and it just provides additional space. You could put pictures in there. And I included just some additional little ephemera bits and bobs, as well as that really thick Midge vintage Barbie toy catalog from the 50s or 60s. So I'm going to be offering this particular journal up for auction this Friday. I believe it's June 5th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the auction will go on for 24 hours. And I'm going to donate 100% of the proceeds to a local nonprofit organization that is led by the Black community, a couple in my town. And what they do is they assist kids in learning leadership and teamwork and projects, and creativity and critical thinking skills, all through the use of music. The couple, the lady is a professional singer, and her husband is a producer, I believe, makes a lot of music for big projects, lots of soundtrack music. So they're very technically oriented with like STEAM training and classes. So I think that their organization really helps our community, and I'm going to help them out at a time like this, and all my profit will go to them. And so this is the first journal, really big, huge journal that I'm offering that has a really intricate like piece of art on the front. It's on watercolor paper, and it is glued but it has no other protection on the cover, and I'm not going to scan it and offer it copies. So it's going to be very original, and I really hope you like it, and please let me know what you think in the comments. I will see you on Friday.